After missing the playoffs last season, will the Golden Knights be hoisting the cup as their series against the Panthers is about to get underway on Saturday? We take a look at some of the keys for VGK and what they have to do to defeat upset-minded Florida.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco along with Chris Golick. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. You can find us on Twitter at LockedOnVGK, at Tony Dasco, at TDChrisG. And Locked On Golden Knights is the place to be on YouTube. Please subscribe there. So, Chris, the calendar says June, but VGK is still playing hockey. Chris, you are covering Media Day today. It's quite an honor to have you there, and we look forward to all of your coverage. Where will we be able to find a lot of the coverage that you're going to provide today? First of all, it'll be on the Twitter feed and then also on YouTube, right?
Yeah. So I do have the media credentials for the Stanley Cup Media Day. I just like saying that. It's pretty exciting. Gives me chills thinking about that. And basically, I'll probably go live every now and then, maybe on Twitter, or at least I'll post videos right after I get them. Depending on how much content I collect, I might actually make like a little show out of it where I'll put it all together onto YouTube and you know, like make like a 10-12 minute video of hits and interviews and stuff. Just kind of depends how it goes. My first go around doing this, I do remember, so really fast memory lane, 2018 when VGK went to the Stanley Cup, like it never really hit me until they were showing the Media Day on TV. And then there's, you know, all the NHL network people and stuff like that in the lobby at T-Mobile. There's a Stanley Cup and stuff. And like, that's when I really got excited in 2018. So I think this is kind of now same thing for me. It's starting to hit me that VGK is in the cup. And the fact that I have a minute role in bringing some content to everybody is it's an honor.
We are brought to you today by FanDuel. Make a fast break to FanDuel during the NBA playoffs and make sure that you check out their no sweat first bet. Yes, go to FanDuel.com/lockedon and get a no sweat first bet for up to $1,000. So, Chris, you know, do you feel that missing the playoffs last year after last season is something that turned out to be beneficial for VGK? I know the organization got a little Canadian in there for you. Since there's no Canadian teams in the Cup Final, the organization said that it was more or less to have a full cycle of training to get themselves back to being a physical team, working out every day, all of that. I have to wonder if this helped coming into the season with the shortened bubble season before that, and everything was sort of backlogged for VGK.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. VGK, you know, if they would have had a similar run like the Panthers as far as getting in on the 11th hour on the final day, VGK would have been trounced by Colorado most likely in the first round. Or if they got lucky, I don't think they would have had a similar run to what the Florida Panthers are doing this year. So, you know, in hindsight, it was good to press the reset button, get the bodies healthy. And like you said, it's been a weird, you know, couple of seasons. I mean, even last season, the calendar was pushed back. I think the Stanley Cup started into, I don't think it went to July, but it definitely, again, I'm just by memory, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure everything was a little bit later.
Yeah. And all those games that were postponed due to COVID and everything else. Yeah. 2, like really back-to-back or 3 seasons in a row where things just were out of sorts, if you will. Do you feel there's going to be a theme today at VGK Media Day? If you were to pick a theme?
You know, I'm thinking about, like, I've done this a couple times in my pressers where I sometimes think about asking the same question or the same themed question all the time. And I think those things kind of take a mind of their own, right? You know, as media, and we're all going to kind of feed off of each other and try and get the best content for our followers and things like that. And, you know, if you get someone laughing a little bit, you know, you might extend on the answer. You might kind of pry a little bit. It all just kind of depends. I feel like VGK is taking a business first mentality. 2018, we're all happy they were in the cup, and I'm sure the VGK players, to a degree, we're like, okay, this is pretty cool. Like we're on house money at this point, similar to my feelings of the Florida Panthers. But this year, like it feels like they know what it's going to take to. I'm not at the moment. I'm not saying they're going to win the cup, but I feel like they have a better understanding of what it takes to win the cup. And I think you'll see some light moments, but I think it's going to be a very business first mentality. And I think VGK wants to remind everyone they're here to win this thing, plain and simple.
Yeah, and the way that these teams do match up, I'm just curious if we will see more of a team effort again, or if someone actually, AKA Ivan the Great Barbashev, breaks through in the playoffs. He's plus 6,000. Is that what you told me last night on Twitter?
80-1, 80-1.
I'm going to take him. I'm going to take him for the Conn Smythe. I will definitely take some U.S. dollars, and I'm going to bet on that. But yeah, the way that they've been playing, is this a VGK team that more or less also has a chip on its shoulder? Because really, they've gotten no respect when you've gone through the start of each series. I think each and every one of the so-called experts, minus me, had the opposition winning. No, I was part of them, that crew too.
I mean, yeah, kind of. I think it would have been easier to have a little more. And this is not any disrespect to the Panthers, but if we would have gone up against, Carolina, Boston, the Rangers, teams that were projected to possibly make it to the cup, I think it would have been easier for VGK to play the role of, all right, no, you're not going to respect us, fine, whatever. But VGK is favored in this series, and the players do know that, the coaches know that, I'm sure Foley knows that. So I think the perspective is going to be, hey, we're the better team. The money thinks we're the better team, so let's do this thing. But generally, yes, there certainly is going to be a chip on their shoulder to a degree, simply because, well, there's been since day one, and everyone's out there chirping. Just yesterday on Twitter, the rigged draft lottery pops out, and all the fans are chirping about that, and they chirp about the salary cap circumvention, and then they chirp about this, they chirp about that, and then it's always someone from like either, I don't know, Los Angeles or Edmonton or an original Six City or Buffalo. It seems to chirp the loudest. But point being is, that stuff does make it back to the players, right? Whether they're following Twitter, whether Shea Theodore's wife is telling them about what's happening on social media, or whether they hear it from us today, because there will be quotes tweeted today at the presser. There will be, hey, the vibe across the NHL is the Golden Knights don't deserve to be here. They haven't suffered enough. How do you feel about that? We as media will be placing these thoughts in their head if they don't have them already, and be curious to see how they respond. I'll try and toe the line a little bit with a question or two, but I want get too funky. But I definitely want to get these guys talking a little bit, and I think that's important if we can break down some of those barriers with some of our questions today.
Okay, I remembered going back now, to 2019 or so. I do remember when VGK played against Calgary, and Matthew Tkachuk rammed into Marc-Andre Fleury.
Oh yeah,
I think VGK had better protect Adin Hill because he's got a nasty side to his game. And then remember, Fleury skated out and wanted to fight against, I think it was David Riddick at the time. He wanted to fight against the other goaltender. But in any event, they need to protect the goalie, because I think there's going to be a lot of physicality in the crease in this series, no doubt.
Yeah, and listen, I like Tkachuk as a player. He's fun. He's scrappy. I like him now. I'm gonna get mad at him and cuss him out during the next 2.5 weeks, however long this thing goes, and then after it's over, I'm gonna go back to liking him again. I like the family. I like the game. I like the style. I like the fact that he is going to. NHL Network said it pretty well yesterday about what he's gonna do, and like Sam Bennett's another one, but they drag players to the fight with them. They get players into the game. And listen, Tkachuk, he's going to be all over that crease. And we saw Adin Hill, Evander Kane, he gave him a little forearm in one of the games. And then I think he didn't like something in the Dallas series where he kind of not swung, but he let the player know he didn't like what was happening. So Adin Hill has to keep his poise, if anything, and Matt Tkachuk's going to be in there doing his thing. And it's going to be very important for the VGK bigger and stronger defense than the Florida Panthers to make same thing I said about Gudis, right? Did I get his name right this time? Did I say his name right?
Yeah,
I hope I said it.
You sure
Same
did.
thing what Gudis is going to do. He's going to make you pay for your scoring opportunities, and that gets in the back of your head. I don't care who you are, how much money you make. Pain makes you think differently of your job duties sometimes, and
Winning hurts.
winning hurts. Yeah, exactly. Losing hurts more though, folks.
It surely does.
But point being is they better make Matt Tkachuk earn his ice, and this is where one William Karlsson might be an important factor.
Yeah, keep hyping him up, folks. Keep doing that. I finally did dump that Karlsson jersey, so I sent it to one of our listeners.
Nice way to put it. Nice way to put it. Hey, here's a nice here's the thing. Okay, here's a nice William Karlsson jersey. I'm so glad you're going to love this. And then on the podcast next day, finally dump that thing off.
Get rid of that thing. And I saged it too on the way out the door. The fourth line, the identity line for VGK, will be very important. You have to believe in this series. You talked about statistically how they match up, and they seem to be much better. Nick Waugh has to be the starting center there. They have to just go with the hot hand and the way that they had jump in the final game of the Dallas series.
I mean, we heard all about, this is back to the DeBoer camp, how excited he was early in camp about Nick Waugh, Kolesar, and Carrier. And we've seen that, throughout most of the season. There's been some movement around the lineup of Nick Waugh, most importantly, and even Will Carrier when the injury bug hit in the middle of the season. But when that fourth line is together, they're jamming out there. They're doing their thing. NHL Network or NHL.com, one of them just put something out this morning. It was Kolesar's goal against Dallas. Kolesar hit 22.5 miles an hour on the ice. It's pretty fast. I'm not calling him Connor McDavid. He can hit like 50 miles an hour, it feels like. But
yeah, there was no defense back either.
No, he had someone chasing him all the way down.
Yeah, chasing. He got chased. Yeah.
I mean, listen, it might have been another line 4 person, but Kolesar looked good doing it. I do want to go back. I know you weren't going to take me down this path, so I'm going to force the path. But if Matt Tkachuk is the marked man, if he's the key to Florida winning this thing, equally as important is going to be William Karlsson. I'm not going to get much for the next minute out of Tony, so I'll just talk for a second. You look at what William Karlsson, how he was able to a degree at least, slow down Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl both, but mainly McDavid based on what Jay Woodcroft said. We saw all the stats come out. I think William Karlsson in 5v5 goals is 14-5 for the entire playoffs. No penalty minutes, logging most of his time against the other team's top forward units. So if William Karlsson can at least slow down Matt Tkachuk, you're going to force the depth to, carry the extra weight to pick up those extra goals. And that's where line 3, whether we classify that as the Brett Howden line, or if we classify that as the Mark Stone, Chandler Stevenson line, however you want to put that, the Karlsson line or the Stevenson lines 2 and 3. Point being is that's going to be the biggest key to this series, I think, is the line 3 versus line 3 matchup. If William Karlsson can neutralize Matt Tkachuk to a degree.
VGK needs to stay away from the stupid penalties. We've seen this committed. We saw the Chandler Stevenson penalty, Braden McNabb with the high sticking calls in the 5th game, I think, right, of that series. It's something that they really do need to concentrate on and staying out of the box, because you've got a great dynamic here where the Florida Panthers are great at drawing penalties, and VGK doesn't commit very many penalties. We'll keep an eye on that. Jack Eichel, of course, we have gotten this deep without mentioning Eichel, and again, what he's done and his board work, and he's played terrific D. He's great on the zone breakouts. The only issue right now is I think we want to see him to gain more confidence. He's going to have to get in a groove, and he's going to have to shoot the puck, I think, and be a little bit more selfish, I think, in this series. What are your thoughts?
Well, looking at the VGK stats, you mentioned he's got to be more selfish and shoot. Marchessault is the only one who's taken more shots than Jack Eichel at 62, where Eichel has taken 59 shots. And then after that, 34 for Pietrangelo. Pietrangelo shoots at everything that moves. William Karlsson, 37 shots on goal. So just rounding out some of the top shot getters, if that's the proper way to put that. Eichel, yeah, I mean, listen, if he's scoring, it gives you confidence, but I think his head is in the right place. I think with Buffalo, if he wasn't scoring, he wasn't confident, didn't feel like he was doing his job. Whereas in Vegas, I mean, listen, he's got 12 assists. He is our leading point scorer in the playoffs at 18 points, 17 games. So I think his head is in the right place. I think his confidence is in the right place. And I think Eichel can contribute to this game without even hitting the score sheet, simply with the good entries, simply with getting pucks deep. And we saw in the Dallas series where VGK was really struggling at getting those clean zone entries. Eichel took it upon himself to find ways to gain the blue line and kill time, create time and space for the other players to get open. And we saw that, a number of times, starting with, the kind of no look pass to Marchie to tie the game too late. So Eichel's going to do his thing. And whether he hits the score sheet or not, I don't think it matters as far as his personal confidence goes. He'll get his attaboys on the bench. And honestly, I don't think any of the players care about scoring right now. They care about winning, and whatever it takes to win, everyone on this team is bought in, and they're going to find a way to hopefully do it.
So cliche, but I think that the first 10 minutes of game number one is really going to matter. We're going to see a tone set. We're going to see if that defense, most importantly, Chris, making faces at me again.
No, it's not you.
No, you're just thinking. You're thinking. I know. You've got your thinking cap on. Yeah, I'm just kidding you. But I think, we'll see the defensive structure of Florida. This is what I was getting at.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Whether it's loose or not, like we saw against Dallas, because Dallas was so loose, especially early on in those games. They just gave up so much open ice. So I think that that's going to be a key factor. Turnovers, limit those turnovers, the 24 turnovers, AKA you could not beat Arizona in game number 5. And then winning faceoffs, I think, is really important, and something that's not, stressed, I think, enough. We talk about a lot, but Chandler Stevenson can't go 2 of 15 on draws, and especially when VGK's in their defensive zone.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't have the faceoff stats in front of me. I wonder who I'm assuming it's going to be on the Florida side. I'm assuming Eric Stahl can still do faceoffs. I don't know about Anton Lindell. He's a rookie, and Sam Bennett and Barkov. I don't know how they are in the circle, to be honest.
Barkov's
but Stevenson regular season was definitely tops in the NHL. Yeah, he was tops in the NHL.
Somewhat 55%, I think.
Right, which is still crazy to me, that 55, like the difference of success and failure in the faceoff circle, and whatever. Moving on from that. You did mention the getting the entries and the middle of the ice and stuff like that. So Florida is going to, at times, put on a very aggressive forecheck, and we've seen VGK crumble a little bit, at times on that. But if they can survive that first wave, when Paul Maurice does basically put the full court press on, then VGK is going to have a lot of room in the middle of the ice. When VGK has room in the middle of the ice and they become a rush team, there's no one in the NHL that's going to stop them. They can be one of the best rush teams in the NHL. So I'll be curious to see how often Paul Maurice wants to put the pedal to the metal. You mentioned the first 10 minutes of the game when I was making those faces at you. So this is where the Florida Panthers. Well, this is where the Florida Panthers. They got the deck stacked against them right now. It's been 10, 11 days, whatever the math works out.
It'll be 9.
Okay, it'll be 9 days. So we talked about the fact that teams with more rest are 1-9 in the Stanley Cup Final. Well, they got 2 weeks off. Call it 2 weeks just to round up a little bit there. I think on the bet I made, the first bet I made of the series was actually VGK first period at minus 125. Minus 125.
I thought I saw
so I made a half a torpedo bet. There you go. Half a torpedo bet. And I don't know if VGK is going to win game one. I mean, I'm still kind of going up and back. I'm not locked in on one way or the other on it. But, definitely the first period is going to be there for the taking. And VGK can set the tone in game one. And regardless of the outcome in game one, we're going to see a different Florida Panthers team in game two.
Yeah, that's for sure. They'll make a lot of adjustments. Coming up next, there's pizza. That was Bruce Cassidy. South Beach Bruce at it again. Can he and the Vegas Golden Knights be victorious in the Cup Final? We have our predictions coming up next right here. There's pizza on Locked On Golden Knights. Make a fast break to FanDuel during the NBA playoffs, because right now, new customers can get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. What I really like about betting on FanDuel, those great odds, of course, on Ivan the Great Barber Chef. Great promotions every day. It's a safe and secure app that you definitely need to check out, and you get paid instantly, which is really important in today's world of sports betting. There's no better place but all the playoff action than to go to America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the National Basketball Association. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Gawlik coming to you from Las Vegas. A couple of programming notes, if you will, coming up in our next segment, WTF, What the Friday. Also, don't forget to follow Chris, and we'll have it on Locked On VGK on Twitter and Locked On Golden Knights on YouTube, as he will today be covering the media day for the Stanley Cup Final. And coming up on Saturday, Mondo Velez of Locked On Florida Panthers and myself
into the program
review the series. So we do have a very big weekend of programming. So it is that time, our picks and predictions. And I'm going to jump on board, and you will be seeing my hashtag
oh god,
Stanley Cap, for the cap circumvision of the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm jumping on board.
This isn't segment 3.
Oh, okay. So in any event, my MVP again for this series will be the unsung hero in Ivan Barbashev.
I actually like that.
15 points, 17 games, plus 12, does all the dirty work. He will finally be rewarded. He's going to get a reverse rat trick in this series at some point. He's your Conn Smythe winner.
What's a reverse rat trick?
I don't. It's like
Reverse
not a
trick?
Florida.
What?
It's not a Florida.
What's a reverse rat
It's
trick?
not a Florida rat trick. It's a VGK.
You're getting my son all choked up now. This nonsense you're talking.
Okay,
You okay?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take Barbashev and Eichel in game 1. I am taking VGK in the series in 6. VGK in 6. Win, loss, win, win, win.
I'll get all that later, but you're saying VGK in the series, sure.
The fans are going to love me for this one.
What's the what do you got for game 1, Tony?
It's a 4-2 VGK final.
4-2 tonight, or 4-2 for game 1.
Yeah,
and you're saying you're taking VGK in 6 also.
Yeah, 4-2 and 4-2.
Oh, Tony, there they go. There goes everyone slept. No one's going to watch segment 3 now because you predicted the Golden Knights, Tony.
Hashtag Stanley Cap.
So my concern about game 1 is the fact that everyone is on VGK, the public, everybody. But every now and then the public does have to get it right. So I'm going to align myself with the public for game 1, mainly because I think Florida, it's just a weird game for them to just kind of get off the snide and boom, here we go. Game 1, Stanley Cup Final. So I'll take VGK game 1. I didn't even have that locked in until right now, but I'll go VGK game 1. Let's go 3-2 with just a nice traditional kind of, nice low scoring game. I got to go William Karlsson just because that's going to be a lot of fun and it's going to piss off Tony. Besides that, let's go with Coley in his 22.5 miles per hour breakouts.
How many times I have to tell you this? He never scores.
You stop it. So 3-2 Golden Knights, William Karlsson, Kolasar. My series, I'm going VGK in 5. They're deeper. Their defense is stronger and bigger. Goaltending is an even check mark on both sides. Check the stats, folks, if you don't agree with me. So the intangibles, the leadership, the experience, VGK is going to get this thing done pretty quickly. We're going to see whatever it is next Friday, next Wednesday, whatever the day is, Chris, you and I are going to see the Stanley Cup lifted at T-Mobile Arena. I'll do the same thing I said with Edmonton. I'm going to go win-win, loss, win-win to complete the gentleman's sweep. VGK, big Stanley Cup parade. William Karlsson is my Conn Smythe winner.
Little Chris.
Okay, Chris, first of all, tomorrow's game. What do you got?
Panthers win 4-1.
4-1. Okay. Who for Vegas is going to do something?
Carlton and Kolasar.
He's going with me. Okay, the Gaulics are aligned. Okay. What do you got for the series, Chris?
It's going to go Panthers, 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 Panthers.
You say we're going to get swept 4-0 in the Stanley Cup Final? Okay, you see that door right there?
Yes.
Can you test the door handle, see if it works?
Is he going to?
Okay.
Is he going to game one?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay.
He asked if you're going to game one. I said not anymore.
Oh.
He said the Panthers are going to sweep the Golden Knights. Good Lord.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you know how that door handle works. Check both sides of it, okay?
Talk
close
about,
the door. Close the door.
We talk an awful lot, right? About
Does it work?
VGK's Cup experience, Chris Senior. But we also have some experience on the Florida Panthers side. Carter Verhaeghe, of course, won it with Tampa in 2020, I think. And then the Stalls, of course, Eric Stahl and Mark Stahl as well. VGK all-time 6-3-1. They own this series. And again, it's going to come down to VGK's defense. And if they can continue, they're going to play a more physical series than the one that they just had by far.
Last series wasn't physical at all. It was not. This is going to be Edmonton at about 20% more physicality, hits,
right,
scrums, and it takes a toll. I mean, that's why these things constantly happen. They're not doing it just for fun. It will take a toll on the body. And this is where people who normally don't get their hands dirty, someone like William Karlsson, is going to have to get in there and get a little dirty at times. Shea Theodore, Zach Whitecloud, even Chandler, Stevenson will cross-check people, but, he's going to need to get in there in the scrums. And, Mark Stone, they're going to be going after his back. I mean, call what it is, and that's playoff hockey. That's what happens. So this is where our elite fighter might have to send a message early, Tony.
The elite fighter. Okay, that must be Nick Hague.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if the Tkachuks and Mark Stone are still talking, or if Stone is still a part of Brady Tkachuk's wedding party.
Brady Tkachuk will probably be in the stands. There was some awesome footage of him. I think it was in the conference finals last year. His brother got a hat trick, I believe, for the Flames against the Oilers. He chucked his hat on the ice and all that. His dad wouldn't throw his hat on the ice, but Brady Tkachuk's going to be in the crowd having beers, watching his brother. That's kind of cool. I like that.
Coming up next, it is that time. It is time for WTF. What the Friday? Hashtag Stanley Cap. It comes your way next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. We are fired up. The Stanley Cup is literally here in Las Vegas. You will never catch me taking a photo because I have the no paparazzi rules, and I know where that cup has been as well. So I've got stories. I told you
it was in Henderson yesterday.
Yeah, that's great. That thing is so banged up. Okay, it's time for WTF.
If the Stanley Cup could talk.
WTF. What happened to your good friend Goldie the goldfish? Did that goldfish die already?
If the Golden Knights win the Stanley Cup, you're going to see that thing swimming in the Stanley Cup. Would that be the first fish to swim in the Stanley Cup? Because that actually might be kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. That might be the coolest moment of that stupid fish. Can I say stupid fish? Good, stupid fish.
Maybe they should put them in the ice.
It's a dumb. And they keep showing it like the first intermission too. Come on, just get out of here.
Okay, I've got another WTF before we get to you.
Oh,
hashtag
thanks.
Stanley Cap. Speaking of Cap, Emily Kaplan, in the past series, I think it was, what was the game that they got ambushed by Dallas? Emily Kaplan has one of those interviews, but she comes back after the second period when VGK was losing to the Dallas Stars. And she says, I interviewed a Golden Knights assistant coach who said the team didn't play well that period. And she never names, this is just awful journalism, number one. Number two, you can't even talk to an assistant coach if you are a quasi-media member here in Las Vegas. It's awful. It's awful that you can't have any access to the assistant coaches for the VGK. Hashtag WT stinking F.
So I've been pretty upfront and vocal about my concerns about the business handlings of the Vegas Golden Knights with respect to season ticket holders.
Oh,
I've been concerned about pricing and gouging and the fact that it's going to be probably $25 a beer this weekend. I'm not going to have any, but and the popcorn and all that. But WTF, my Stanley Cup tickets in season 6 are lower priced than my season 1 tickets.
wow.
So positive WTF. I fell out of my chair when I saw that. I was shocked. I know I have a contract that kind of spells that stuff out, but based on the elevator, I was ready for about $50 more a game. And instead it was year over year. I won't say how much, but year over year, my season 1 over season 6, my Stanley Cup tickets are $45 less per game.
Yeah, and
so
on
that's
that
pretty crazy.
On the Gametime app, WTF, the lowest price ticket was $435 at last check.
I will say I did sell my
standing room. Stupid.
Now I will say I sold my now this is plus fees, of course. I did sell my 2 tickets for $400 a piece, my 2 extra for. Wow. So I feel like that was fairly priced, and I think I haven't checked the supply. I do think the prices. You might have had a sweet spot last night. The prices might go up a little bit today. Now there's the FOMO happening, the fear of missing out. But yeah, my second WTF. So I got this clown on YouTube. I forgot the person's name, but we're going to call him Clown. I know they're watching every day because they love tearing apart everything I say about the Florida Panthers. So first of all, I have been very clear that I feel the Florida Panthers have not faced pressure in the playoffs. You come in as an 8 seed against the 1 seed, against the Boston Bruins, who had an all-world record-breaking type season. You got no pressure in that series. You're down 3-1 in that series. You got no business winning that series. You're playing loose and easy. You come back and win the series. It's awesome. It's remarkable. Then series 2, you got the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is basically a laydown. You beat them 4-1. Okay, fine. Carolina Hurricanes. Yes, it's a close series, 1-goal games. I get all that, but you sweep them. The Florida Panthers have not had much pressure in this postseason, and I think that might possibly negatively impact the Stanley Cup Final if the Vegas Golden Knights can simply get a lead on the series. Now, I'm not dogging the Florida Panthers when I say that. I am giving them credit for getting themselves in the spots in rounds 2 and 3 not to have any pressure. That is a compliment. But these clowns on YouTube think I'm dogging them and saying there's no pressure. Yes, they do have pressure. No, they don't have pressure. And they don't have much pressure now, even, to be honest with you. And the quote that I keep getting from this dude is, "You have no idea what's coming to Vegas." Well, you have no idea what's coming to Florida either. And the thing is, none of us have any idea what the heck's going to happen. I think Vegas is going to win this in 5. Tony thinks Florida's going to win it in 6.
I said VGK.
VGK, I'm sorry. My apologies. Yeah. But the point is, everyone has their thoughts, their perspectives, whether it's experts like us, whether it's experts who wear a suit and tie on TV. I'm never wearing a suit and tie on TV. Whether it's the experts that wear suit and ties on TV. Wayne Gretzky has no idea what's happening. He has an idea what might happen. And everyone else that tries and put these, their perspectives out there. If you want to go back and look at the experts, look at rounds 2 and 3. How many people gave VGK a chance even to advance? Or moneypuck.com. I made a note on my desk to talk about MoneyPuck. They gave VGK the lowest statistical possibility to win the Stanley Cup and to make it to the Stanley Cup when the playoffs started around April 2nd. They put a tweet out there giving them less than a 3% chance or something like that. So computers have no idea what's going to happen. So when this clown keeps telling me, you have no idea what's coming, well, none of us have any idea what's happening. That's what's fun. Enjoy the game. I can't wait for tomorrow so we can stop talking about it and just watch some blankety blank in hockey.
All right. And that's a hashtag WTF.
What he said.
From Cuddy E. Bag, NHL, for not having merch ready the day after Vegas won in Florida and Vegas in it. The Stanley Cup logo, better have it on the ice at the T-Mobile with Stanley Cup Final also on the ice.
I'll know in 5
hashtag
hours.
WTF. Hashtag not what TF, but when TF are we going to see Tony in a Wild Bill jersey? I'll answer that question. Never again, never again. That thing's gone. Oil tracks and all, tire tracks and all. The Blind Swordsman said, we made it to the finals. We got to win 4 to win the championship. WTF this season has been awesome. WTF, are we going to see Phil Kessel eating hot dogs out of the cup?
It's pretty funny. Mine are WTF, and then a better WTF. To people on Twitter that love chirping and saying really dumb, inappropriate things, have the courage to put your name behind it. Don't put some random, I don't know, whatever. Just have your actual name behind what you're saying.
Burner accounts.
Yeah. I mean, and all that. Don't be a coward. Like, you want your freedom of speech and all that. Well, put your name behind it if you really want to believe in your freedom, and if you want to, you know what I'm trying to say. Positive WTF. It's going to be a party in front of T-Mobile. Vegas does it right. There's going to be so much happening. If you're not going to the games, folks, I would recommend walking around the plaza in front of T-Mobile before the game starts. It is an absolute experience. You're going to see trucks everywhere. NHL Network's going to be set up. TNT is going to be set up.
No pregame concert. Are there pregame
concerts? Oh, we haven't had the email yet that says what the activations are. But
you think it will be?
Oh, they're going to do something huge. I have no knowledge. But remember Little John at Lil, not Little. There's no T's. It's Lil.
I like what I do like. I like where Seattle has. They had the lead singer from Train, for instance. They have actual live entertainment in the arena.
Imagine Dragons played before Game 2 on the arena.
Yeah, we're homies, of course, and we follow each other on Twitter. One more WTF.
They follow you on Twitter?
Of course.
Wow.
You need to check that out.
No, I don't.
Come on, bro. So this is from
our guy, shave, Tony.
Tim. And it's my anti-playoff beard. It's Tim Hansford, our good friend.
Ah, yes.
Not what the Friday, but who the Friday.
Huh?
Who the Friday is this William Karlsson, year one Wild Bill, stirring a bit of Patrice Bergeron, and maybe add a dash of Kool-Aid. That's for you, Tony. And what do you get? Vegas Bjorn version 2.0. Hashtag WTF. I did call them the Kool-Aid kids. Everyone was on the Kool-Aid, and this team stunk at the time that I said that. And then this was probably right before the All-Star break, and then, of course, they had another gear. Everyone got a lot of rest and baby making and all that, and they came back. They were ready to go. So, Chris, again, have a great time at Media Day today. He'll be credentialed. All sorts of coverage coming your way. Tomorrow, of course, we will have the crossover, myself and Mondo Velez, and that'll be a ton of fun. And it's the first time I'm picking VGK to win a series. Holy smokes. Hashtag Stanley Cup.
It was such a good run. Vegas Golden Knights fan, it was such a good run. Tony picked him to win the cup.
I was told not to go to the
cup runners up again, folks. Cup runners up again.
I was told not to go to the participation parade. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Send us home.
Good luck to the Vegas Golden Knights this weekend. We'll be back again. Maybe Sunday. I don't know, but definitely Monday morning. We'll see. Yeah. From my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. Thanks to all of you, especially our everydayers, for tuning in. We'll see you again soon, tomorrow morning, and throughout the day, right here on Locked On Golden Knights.